This is Never Down, Never Out with T.R. Matson. This podcast is about discipline when motivation fades, resilience when things get hard, and showing up when quitting would be easier. No hype, no shortcuts, just the mindset required to build something real. One day at a time. Let's get into it. Welcome back. T.R. Matson here, Never Down, Never Out podcast. How are you doing this morning? Hopefully great. Thanks again for tuning in. This should be a quick topic. I honestly don't know if anybody really needs to hear it. I mean, episode 75, Discipline When Life Gets Busy. So do me a favor, hit pause for a second as soon as I'm done talking, and if your life is not busy, if you have all the time in the world and you wake up and you have nothing on your agenda all day, then you could probably stop listening to this because you don't need it. Still here, huh? Yeah, we're all busy. We're swamped. I mean, I'm in my mid 40s. I got 2 kids. I got a full-time job. I'm writing 2 books, and a podcast. And there's another venture on the horizon that will take some time. Yet I'm still trying to be a good dad, good husband, take care of myself enough that I can pass my medical and hopefully live long enough to actually see my children grow up. There's only 24 hours in a day, right? And I love the quote. I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about it. We all have 24 hours in a day, right? And, he said, well, most people sleep 8. And he goes, well, sleep 6. Sleep faster. And, it's the reality. And I'm not telling you to get 6 hours of sleep at night. As I've gotten older, I realized sleep's important. I ran into a buddy of mine the other day while flying, and I had done a particularly interesting trip where, and I'll do this if I can often, and for people that don't understand the airline world, it's, it typically falls into a 2-day trip where you fly one flight on day 1, go to the hotel, and then you deadhead back, meaning you ride in the back just to get home. And if it's built like that trip, the reason I like it is if there's an earlier flight that I can get on, a lot of times I could be gone from home a very short amount of time, which is good for the busy lifestyle, right? So on this particular one, I flew out to Omaha, Nebraska, got to the hotel, spent about 6 hours in the hotel. That was on the first flight back home. And I ran into a buddy of mine that I used to teach with. And I joked about, I don't need much sleep. And his wife is a doctor, very smart doctor. And he goes, sleep's medicine, man. And I love that. I'm like, it truly is. Like when you get a good night's sleep, you do feel better. Your body needs it. And as somebody who has a 7.5, a 3-year-old, trust me, on those nights where I don't get a good night's sleep, I feel it. So, but at any rate, we are busy, right? So where does discipline fall into this busy life? Well, when I look back, all the way back into college, high school, prior to high school, and then look at my time in the Navy, especially early on in flight school, and I compare it to now, I had so much more time on my hands back then. Now, I will argue, when I went to school, I did do traditional public school. So I was in class all day, at school, which I think at least was the norm. I think the dynamic is shifting a little bit with education. And then, college is college. And then flight school, when I went through joint training with the Air Force, they made us stay there 12 hours a day, whether we were flying or not. Now, I kept busy, if you've listened to my stories, because typically I would go fly, throw up, and then have to go to the aviation physiology building to, well, throw up again. And in an effort to desensitize myself, which I still think they were just trying to physically empty my body so I would stop throwing up. But it was still 12 hours a day. But now, with all of these things, and they're more dynamic. Back then, if I was smarter and more disciplined, I knew it was like you were going to be at the squadron from this point to this point, and you have to sleep during this time. So here's the time you got, and that was it. It would have been very easy to stay, and it actually was very easy to stay structured. But now, the flight call could come in now that I'm going to go to the airport and fly if I choose to. Just learned that my son's baseball practice because of the weather was canceled tonight. So now that frees up some time. So it's this constant dynamic schedule, but it's always busy. So for me, I don't know the last time life wasn't busy. Now, a lot of that is on me, right? I choose to do a podcast. I choose to work on these books slowly. I choose this potential new endeavor, which most people won't even know about, and that's okay, but it's going to take time. I choose the time with my family, but it's the bottom line is I got 24 hours just like you do. And it's the discipline that is critical when you're busy, because there's so many external factors. Whether you're busy because, like I was at flight school, you are stuck in a squadron for 12 hours a day, even when it's snowing and you're not going to go fly and you just can't do anything else. Or you're busy like I am now with little kids and jobs and projects and stuff like that. Busy's busy. So the discipline comes in and it fits in either scenario. Let me give you an example. If your goal is to work out every day, hit the gym every day. Well, let's look at the flight school version of me. Well, let's assume 8 hours of sleep a night. Okay? 8 hours of sleep and 12 hours in the squadron. Public math is 20 hours out of 24. That means I've got 4 hours of my own time to get everything I need to get done and hit the gym. It's not a big window. You better be disciplined to get in that window and get in that gym. Now let's look at now. Well, same 8 hours of sleep. Okay. But now, am I going flying today? Am I not? Do I have a trip coming up? Do I have other things? Is there baseball practice? I want to go hug my wife. Is there podcasts I need to record? Man, I haven't written. I really need to get some words on paper and keep moving with that. Oh, my son has a project he's working on that I need to help him with. All of these things. You still want to work out. That's still your same goal. You better find a time and fit it in there, right? You better have, whether you're the type of person that needs it written down, and there's nothing wrong with that. One of the advantages of this thing is this phone is that you could literally have your whole day planned out minute to minute. I don't hate it. I don't tend to use it to that degree. I use it as kind of a template of, okay, this is when my wife's got something to do. This is when the kids are, my son goes to school 1 day a week. This is when he's going to be there. This is when my daughter's at daycare. I know what times it's going to be quiet around the house. I know when the opportunities are there to go hit the gym. But the discipline better still be get your butt in there. Now, I'm blessed with the fact that my wife is very much into fitness, which is testament. She was up at 5 a.m. again today, working out. We've built out a gym in our garage, partially. I think she would go to a gym more, but I like it because I grew up with how busy the military gyms are, and I just like having my own space. And I take the commute out of it, right? I don't care where you live, it takes me a heck of a lot less time to walk from my living room to the garage than it does to drive to any gym. So I like that. It's got everything I want. I know it's taken care of. It makes the habit and the discipline of working out much easier. So I've taken down a lot of barriers to entry, and that helps. So, but it's the same regardless. That same discipline, if that's your goal, and now you can apply that to anything. It doesn't matter, right? If your goal is to learn a skill or to learn a new language or whatever, it's the goal is relevant. The discipline has to be consistent. And if we can't do that, we have to figure out a way to do that. We have to consciously own our minds and go, you know what? I'm not doing what I need to do. And it can be so simple. Some of the simplest things are the ones that get us. I realized I wasn't drinking enough water, right? I just wasn't. And so I started drinking water out of a cup, right? I put a cup in, big plastic cup, and I would just drink a ton of water. And what I noticed is two things. One, I felt better immediately. Drinking water, I felt more alert. My skin looked better. Believe it or not, I'm just kidding. My vision felt better. My mood felt better. My energy felt better. I'm like, whew, okay, all right. But with the cup, I would always leave it somewhere, right? Like it was either left in my office or it was left in the kitchen, and it became a barrier to entry. And a lot of the reasons I left it places is because my 3-year-old daughter would like to mess with the cup, right? What's daddy drinking? So I got a bottle with a lock and cap. I fill it, it's with me. I've created an environment where that discipline of drinking water can thrive. I'm not telling you to drink more water, although you probably need to. What I'm saying is, think of your goal. Think of what you're trying to accomplish. And give yourself a break and go, okay, how can I make this easier, right? How can I foster an environment where I can actually accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish? And then create that environment. And it's not the huge things. Just as much benefit in my life from buying a bottle of water that I can refill as there is building out a whole gym in my garage. Just as much benefit, just different levels of execution. So look at what you're trying to accomplish. Look at that goal that's in front of you. And are you living in an environment that allows you to be disciplined? And if the answer is no, let's fix it. Let's fix it right now. Let's start making steps towards living in an environment where you give your goals a chance to grow, right? We don't need to try to work so hard like we're planting flowers in the desert. Let's figure out the best place to plant them to give them the best chance to grow. That's what I want you to do today. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll talk tomorrow. If this episode helped you, don't just listen, apply it. Progress is built in what you do after the message ends. Remember, never down, never out. I'll see you tomorrow.